That was good.
Welcome to Greece and welcome to the Max Rally review for the Acropolis Rally. We talked before the event about whether or not this was going to be a classic Acropolis. Well, let me tell you, it has been. I'm Colin Clark, and joining me once again, my partner in crime, George Donaldson. George, we did question whether it was going to be a classic. You'd have to say, with the drama we saw, with the action, what a rally we've had.
Colin, it's been every bit a condensed, concentrated Acropolis. Honestly, they could have stopped it after the first two stages and said we'd had an unbelievably tough Acropolis rally, but no, we got a Saturday that was filled with drama.
And I don't think really we needed any more drama. You know, we talked about 300k's, was it enough? If we'd had 400 kilometres, George, goodness me, my wee ticker couldn't have put up with it. It was really from the very first stage, just full of incident. And you know, when we talked about our top three drivers at the start of the rally, we talked Ogier, we talked obviously young Osberg, we talked about Mikko Hirvonen, our top three picks, if you like, for the event. They were all out of it by the end of stage one, all of them having problems in the first stage of the rally.
It was quite bizarre, typically Acropolis. I mean, some of the problems they had were not related to Acropolis. Ogier was just a small technical problem, not an Acropolis-inspired mistake. The Hirvonen's was basically the same. Mads Osberg's broken wheel, typical Acropolis. That was a typical Acropolis. Fluky wheel brake, probably just hit something a little bit hard. The suspension of these cars is so good, such long travel, even longer than normal on this event, and it just absorbs all the shocks. The drivers don't feel it, but that car still takes a knock, Colin.
Yeah, well, it didn't, unfortunately, for Mads Osberg in the first stage. It broke his wheel and he was out. But we then had quite a long day yesterday on Saturday, 8 stages. We had a battle between Evgeny Novikov, who had the most remarkable stage one. He was 30 odd seconds quicker than Sordo, he's 20 odd seconds. Sorry, he was 30 quicker than Latvala?
Yes.
And 20 odd seconds quicker. Anyway, a huge lead, Evgeny Novikov, the young Russian. And his strategy was a strange Acropolis strategy. It was flat out, which, as George was saying, it's an odd one in these stages, but it was paying off for him, certainly through 2 stages. It's paying off for him through 3 stages of the rally. It all went wrong for the Russian in stage 4, George. Another hit, another broken wheel, another puncture, predictable at that kind of speed.
It absolutely was, Colin, and Evgeny could not be persuaded. Evgeny. Evgeny.
Oh, Evgeny, we call him Evgeny. Anyway, we know what you mean. Go on.
Okay,
I think you're right. I think maybe you're right.
Yeah, what about the name or the fact?
Go ahead.
Okay, Evgeny, just a little bit too fast. And you know, I think his old co-driver, Denny Girardet, I think you tweeted up a photograph, Colin. Denny just looked depressed at that result, and it's such a shame. Evgeny didn't need to do that. He had the pace, he's got the ability, he's got good experience now. You know what? Could have carried that off if he'd just changed his strategy on the Saturday, Colin.
Do you know what? I think it was his biggest chance yet of winning a rally, and I don't think you'll get a similar opportunity this year. May well have to wait till next year till we see Evgeny Novikov winning an event. But what did that mean? Well, it meant that we had Jari-Matti Latvala in the lead with Dani Sordo behind him. It then all very much settled down, and Latvala drove, George. By the way, he won the rally. He drove the perfect event. There were no dramas, there were no real histrionics. There was nothing to concern himself about. And in Greece, that's not luck. That's down to an approach and a quality drive.
It was a pure planned approach with his co-driver. His co-driver, by Jari-Matti's own admission, kept him on a tight leash, made sure he stayed on that strategy. He talked to us about that strategy before the event, and he stuck to it like glue, Colin. The temptation must have been to follow on Saturday morning. He didn't, and it all just fell into his lap, Colin. And he then just did what we know he can do. He is capable of driving steadily once he's got a lead, and he just stuck to his guns, and he actually gave us a drama-free event. All the action was behind him after that. Didn't matter what anyone else was doing. Well, very rewarding to see.
It was rewarding, and very many congratulations to Jari-Matti Latvala, to Volkswagen for another victory, to Andreas Mikkelsen, who took his first stage win in the polo. His first stage win since 2008, would you believe, in the World Rally Championship. So Volkswagen looking very, very strong here. Second in the event, Dani Sordo drove to a plan, was told by his team after, obviously, the problems on the first day with his teammates.
Colin, yeah.
You know, he had to get home, he had to finish, he had to bring home the manufacturer points to keep Citroën in the Manufacturers' Championship. No better man, he did that very well. Third place went to
Thierry
Neuville. Yeah, it's a second to remember that. Thierry Neuville, his second podium. Remember, he took his first podium in Mexico. Really strong drive. Again, Neuville not doing anything silly, not pushing on too hard. Knew couldn't catch the boys in front, was under no pressure from behind. Drove a lovely race. Those two guys, both Sordo and Neuville, you have to say, very disciplined.
Very disciplined. Colin, the drive of the rally for me, the man of the event, of course you'd have to say Jari Matti on the basic result and that landmark strategy for him. But other than him, I'm going to say Andreas Mikkelsen. He came out the box today with a mission to catch and pass Nasser Lattia. Not easy on these stages. We saw them get a first and second time on the second last stage, fighting away together right to the end. But Andreas, he could have settled for his fourth place, but no, he went for a power stage point and he just hammered it home to Nasser. It's a great drive and he grew immensely. Just on the performance of this last day, Volkswagen let him go for it. He has grown in stature. He's matured as a WRC driver. That's a landmark event for him.
Well, absolutely. His best ever result as well in the WRC. Let's not forget that. And let's just round things up by saying Robert Kubica from Poland. A remarkable comeback, really, from Robert Kubica. A remarkable debut year in the World Rally Championship. I don't really think he wants to be here. He would rather be in Formula One, but he's a realist and he knows that perhaps rallying is the way forward for him. He won WRC2 here in really difficult conditions for all the cars out there. No dramas either for Robert Kubica. Took maximum points in WRC2. So a great weekend here, George. The 1, 2, 3, Latvala, Sordo and Neuville, and a win obviously for Robert Kubica. We move on from here to Sardinia. In a couple of weeks' time we go to Sardinia. In between times, keep your eye on maxrally.com for all the news, all the gossip, the very, very best writers in the world of rallying on maxrally.com.